is finally sweater weather here in Ohio, and I am wearing one of my favorite sweaters. I have a closet full of them, and I am happy and excited to be able to start wearing them. But today I really wanted to talk a little bit about some of those profound moments that you can have in a session with a client. Now, whether you're a therapist or a doctor or, any type of clinician that works with patients or clients, you have probably had moments like that. And if you are a client or a patient and you feel like your therapist, for example, has said something really profound, something that really stuck with you and resonated, and you remembered it and you took that to heart, that is awesome. Just know that a lot of those moments sometimes just come off the cuff and they are in the moment. And when you come back to session, you're like, that thing you said was so great. On the other end of that couch, opposite you, we're probably going, what was that I said? Because I don't remember. So maybe you share it with us. But I had a moment recently with a client, and I tend to like to use analogies, metaphors, things like that to connect with people. And I often encourage my clients to use analogies to connect with people in their lives. So when they tell me that, their husband, their friend, their mom, their so-and-so doesn't understand, I encourage them to think of something that their person would understand, and then use that to describe their issue. For example, if if your husband is a car person and, you're trying to explain something mental health related, you may try to find a way to connect it to something with working with cars so that maybe it connects better with him. And I was in session with a client, and we were talking about relationships and, healthy relationships and connecting with people. And this can, go for anybody, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship, just connecting with other people. And I had to jot some notes down for myself so that I could remember it and share it. Because I thought I feel like that connected well. But in the moment, it was just like coming to me, and I was saying these things, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Please don't forget this information. I want to be able to use it again. So here's my way of sharing that with you. So feel free to use it for yourself. So when we think about relationships, when we think about building a foundation, again, whatever kind of relationship you're talking about, we want to talk about that, like that foundation. It is often referenced like spiritually when you build your house on the sand, what's going to happen versus building it on rock or concrete or something solid, right? Well, when it comes to a relationship, you want to do the same thing, right? You want to build a firm foundation to provide something for that relationship to grow on and to build upon. And so talking about relationships in the extremes. And my analogy was with like the ocean or jumping into a body of water that is unexplored or that we know nothing about. So when we go or enter into a relationship where we're maybe running off of our feelings and our biology and our hormones, and the first thing we want to do is like jump in and have sex, like we just met you, like, and we're all hot and heavy, and we're going for it. Sometimes that's the way people handle their relationships. Probably not the best way to start a relationship, though. That's like jumping into a body of water head first, having not explored anything below the surface. And we know what can happen if we do something like that, right? We don't know what is below the surface of that water. Rocks, creatures that could hurt us. There could be anything there. And the same thing happens with a relationship. We jump head first into a relationship that we know nothing about. We're more likely to be hurt by it in some way than if we maybe go to the other side and we try to explore. So I pose, and I pose to my clients in general, we're talking about relationships. We have like those extremes. We have the like, I'm jumping into this relationship and, we're having sex right away. It's like all the way over on one side. And then all the way on the other side, maybe is the like abstinence. We're not doing anything. And, we're going to spend 10 years getting to know each other. I don't know. That's over here. Right. Then we've got everything in between. And what I try to say is like, we want to find that middle ground at least, right? How can we bring this side more to the middle and maybe this side more to the middle? Depending, that's going to factor in a lot of things. And what I was explaining is when we think about a relationship, we almost want to think about it like a beach and the ocean that's out there, right? And we want to spend time with somebody on the beach, just getting to know them. We're not even touching the water yet, right? Those are those dates. Those are those going out with friends. That's, talking about who they are, what they like, getting to know them, their history, their background, their likes, their dislikes, their quirks. And then we want to, dip our toes into the water. We want to feel that water. We want to do a little bit at a time, go in, come out, go in a little further, come out. We're not going scuba diving out there in the deep, deep water right off the bat, right? We want to get there. We want to build that relationship to the point where we are scuba diving all the way out there. And we're seeing all the stuff that's below the surface. We're seeing all the creatures and the rocks and the drop-offs and the dangers, as well as the excitement and the like the passion and the trust. But you're not going to get there just immediately. Maybe, you go in a little bit and you feel that crab walk over your feet and you're like, ooh, what is that? Right? What was that in my relationship that just gave me a little, ooh, I don't know what that was. Maybe it's something your partner, warned you about. What we hope is that as you're getting to know each other, you're sharing those things, with your partner before we get there. So they're learning those things about you. So before the crab crawls over your feet, you're aware it exists. Maybe you just haven't seen it yet. Or the crab crawls over and they're like, oh yeah, here's this thing, right? We should talk about that because it's now come up. It's something to address. Okay. All right. Then we go a little further and, we hit a little like rough spot and we're like, okay, like, what's this? And then we're going out and then we're realizing, oh, my partner can't swim. Like he's not doing a very good job. Maybe he needs a little assistance. Whatever that may be. Is that couples counseling? Is that, hey, he needs to work through some things, or I need to work through some things, or I need to be a little more patient with him, them, they need to be a little more patient with me, right? You're starting to maybe feel that discomfort and you're starting to notice some of those rocky areas and some of those things that are a little off. But you make it through that and you keep going and, we can swim now. We don't need the floaties. We don't need the extra help. We got through that. And now we're snorkeling. We're still on the top of the water, but we've built trust and we're able to now look down and see, there's all that past stuff we haven't quite shared yet, right? There's that mommy troubles and daddy troubles and traumas and experiences and things that we're bringing to the table. And maybe we've addressed some of those, but now we're really seeing it. Now we're really talking about it. Now I'm really aware. And then we're jumping in and we're scuba diving. Now we're going all in. Right? We're doing the thing. We're in it. We're seeing all the things around us and we're trusting each other and we're there to support each other. And we love each other. So that was kind of my analogy for building a relationship. There's the all in, I'm diving in, I'm not looking, I'm not exploring, I'm more likely to hurt myself. And there's the like beach, ocean, and we're tiptoeing in, we're a little bit at a time, and we're growing and we're bonding and we're getting to know each other. And through that process, that relationship may last all the way up to the scuba dive, right? Or it may putter out, knee deep because, you realize something, you learn something about each other that you just can't get past, or you realize you're not compatible. And that's okay, right? Because you spent that time getting to know each other. You spent that time, sharing information, building that foundation, not necessarily jumping all in. I kind of framed it, like a pyramid, and the base, right, is that getting to know each other. And if we skip that and we go right to the sex, for example, right to like we're moving in or we're doing those more intense things, we skip all those other building blocks to a relationship. And then when we try to go backwards, it's, hit or miss whether it's successful or not. And some people, as I've said, I've said to my clients, sometimes for some people that works, or it works for a time being and then it stops working. It's not to say that people who build a foundation, that they're always successful. Obviously not. We all know someone who's gotten divorced or separated, or, their relationships don't work out and they seemed like they had it all together, right? Things happen in relationships. But you're more likely to be successful in a relationship, again, friendship or otherwise, or romantic relationship, if you're trying to build it in maybe a more strategic way, in a more healthy way, starting from the bottom and building, then kind of skipping some parts and trying to get around things to get to the good part, right? If we're just trying to get to the good part, and in this instance, I'm talking about maybe more of those physical relationships, but there could be other things. We may miss out on really important information. So for some people, it's sex. For some people, it's money. For some people, it's looks. For some people, it's, intelligence. There's all kinds of factors that we maybe put in front of or before other factors. And we don't want to look at all the other things, and we rule stuff out. One of my favorite movies is Anne of Green Gables, and Anne does not want to. This is what do they call it? I don't want to ruin the surprise. If you've never read or seen Anne of Green Gables, then maybe plug your ears for a minute. And she meets Gilbert Blythe, and her first experience with him is him picking on her, and throughout the story, you can tell that like Gilbert really likes her, and you think she likes him, but she has it in her head that he is not her type. She has this ideal person she wants to be with, and she lets that cloud her vision and cloud her ability to like Gilbert for who he is, and to see that he is maybe her ideal partner. Because of that vision. Now, eventually they get there, and, they realize that, and it all ends happily. But, it takes her a lot of time to realize that that's not really what she wanted. And she had this ideal image of someone that she wanted, and that wasn't, that was preventing her from seeing what was right in front of her. And so sometimes that may be you. Maybe it's a friend, you're like, they don't quite fit that image or that picture of what I thought a friend was, or I thought a partner was. And maybe you're missing out. So just something to consider and think about. I thought this was something I had to share, and I had to write it down because I didn't want to forget. I tend to think of those things and say them in session with people, and I'm like, oh, that was so good. And then as soon as session is over, I'm like, I don't remember what I said. And I know it was like great. So if you're like that, write that stuff down, share it, so that somebody else can use it. Now, maybe you've thought of this before, and this is nothing new to you, but it was new to me, and I thought it was a pretty great analogy. So I'm going to use it, and I appreciate you listening to mine. I have lots of other analogies I could use, and I share those on here when they come up every so often. So I would love to hear your analogies. If you have any therapy analogies for things, I think they're great and helpful and useful. And I love hearing them and I love sharing them. So yeah, please share yours with me. I'd love to hear them. Until next time, I'll see you again next week.